Hey guys, what is up, and I welcome each and every one of you to a new episode of the League of Myths series. As usual, please do not forget to throw in a like if you end up enjoying this episode. And without much further ado, let's go to the first myth. This one's submitted by Hi, I'm Templars. Can LeBlanc W teleport to a tower, then W back to her initial location? So they recently changed LeBlanc's W, giving you now 4 seconds to teleport back to the initial location, while teleport lasts 3.5 seconds. And as I test the myth, you can see in this video that I quickly swap between 2 different screens, going to the tower and then back to my initial location. Not very viable, but it's still pretty interesting. The second myth is asking, if Heimer's turrets attack outside of a brush while Heimer is inside one, is he revealed? So from what I understand, it seems like spells that do consistent damage, so Morgana W reveals that champion that is hiding within the brush, yet skillshot abilities that seem to only hit you once do not reveal you. So with that being said, first we try the Heimer turrets on minions, and as he puts it down, the turret is consistently doing magic damage to the minions that is of course counted as Heimer's damage. But as I'm sure you can see, he is not revealed from the brush. So we then test this with a champion, and as I walk into the tower range, it begins attacking me as Heimer just put it down, but he's still not revealed. But what if the Heimer turret is within the brush that Heimer is in and it attacks me? And you can see now we see the tower and we see Heimer. But this actually is quite misleading, because if I walk back in and let the turret hit me, now we only see the turret, not Heimer, who's actually sitting in the same brush just at the very end of it. So it seems like the only vision we get is of the turret, not Heimer himself, even though he's technically the source. The third myth of this episode is asking, do you get the buff timer for your team if you steal it without vision? So this also is quite an interesting myth, because there's a lot of times where you might throw a random skill shot within an area and actually steal the buff. So the first test case scenario, we test with myself stealing the buff, but this time without killing the small lizards. And as I lose vision of the buff, throw in my Q and get the final blow on it, you can see on the very left that the buff timer is not displayed, because I got the blue buff without killing the lizard minions, so technically the timer does not start yet. But what if the small lizards are dead and then I get the final hit onto the blue buff? Will I then get the timer for my team? And as we finally test it right here, I throw in my Q, it gets the last hit on the blue buff, and you can see it at the top right. The timer does begin counting down, even though I killed it without having any vision, because technically the whole camp is now cleared. And the final myth of this episode, submitted by Ultimate PvP Bros. If you kill the inhib as minions spawn at the same time, will you get the super minions for that first wave? So if you're unaware, in League of Legends, minions spawn every 30 seconds. And this myth is pretty much asking that if we kill the inhibitor at, for example, 12 minutes exactly 12:00, just as the minions spawn, will the inhibitor death have any effect on those minions spawning at the exact same time as the inhibitor died? And as the time is approaching, you're gonna see us kill the inhibitor just exactly at 1200. But as we take a look back to our main base, you're gonna see that the minions did spawn, but there is no super minion attached to them. So it seems like you have to kill the inhibitor at least 1 second before one of the 30-second intervals happens. Alright guys, I hope you enjoyed this episode of League of Myths. If you did, please don't forget to throw in a like and maybe share it with your friends. You can also submit your own myth to have a chance to be featured in the next episode by either commenting underneath this video, submitting it through Twitter, RedMercyLOL, or on my Facebook fan page, also RedMercyLOL. The description underneath this video will have a link to those fan pages. But as usual, I hope you guys really did enjoy this episode, and I hope to see you for the next one as well. Peace.